Welcome to INTEX Millwork Solutions Hampton Radius Rail installation video. In the application you're about to see, it is a level radius rail being installed in a knee wall application. INTEX's radius rail is available in full height level application and stair rail as well. First, take the lower rail assembly and center it on the radius wall cap. In doing so, mark out the newel post locations that they are not currently there. Based off of the orientation of the newel post to the arc of the wall cap, mark the appropriate intersecting angle on the rail and cut. Now that your first newel cut has been made on the radius rail, take the lower rail assembly back to the wall cap, center it, and mark the opposite end to be cut at the appropriate angle and length based on the orientation of the newel to the wall cap. Remember that the aluminum reinforcement should be 3/8 of an inch shorter than the PVC to ensure proper fit of the brackets, same as the level rail assembly. Confirm that the top rail length is the same as the bottom rail length. If so, use the bottom rail as a template to mark and cut the top rail to the appropriate angle and length. Since this is a knee wall assembly, all of the balusters will have to be cut to a custom length. To ensure for code compliance, place the bottom rail on the wall cap and create a story pole on the newel post, marking the baluster height and the finished height of the top rail. Go back and measure the finished opening of the balusters and cut your balusters to this length. So for baluster spacing on your top and bottom rail, you have two options. You can follow the pre-dimpled markings on the bottom rail and the baluster cap that we set forth at 4 7/8 inch on center, or you can set your own spacing on the top side of the rail and splay your balusters however you would like for your application. If the 4 7/8 dimple pattern will not be used on your radius rail assembly, hold the top rail and the bottom rail assemblies together, transferring your center baluster lines from one to the other. When building the ladder assembly for the PVC components of the Hampton rail, it'll be important to have a flat table and a piece of lath to offset and center your balusters. When installing through the bottom rail, you will use an 1.5 inch baluster lock screw and a 2.5 inch baluster screw to secure it. Through the top rail baluster cap, you will put a single 2.5 inch baluster screw centered in the assembly down through the top rail. It is critical that you center the 2.5 inch baluster screw through the top rail due to a future assembly that we will talk about later in the video. The top and bottom rail aluminum reinforcement should be cut 3/8 of an inch shorter than the finished opening to allow for the bracketry. When fastening the brackets to the aluminum extrusion, be sure to lubricate the bracket screws with either soap or oil so you do not shear the heads of the screws or strip them. If the bottom rail is going to sit flush against the wall cap, put a bead of caulk underneath each pilot hole for the securement screws and run your appropriate fastener down through the aluminum into the wall cap. The bead of caulk will act as a sealant and a gasket for the screw and prevent any water penetration over time through the assembly. Next, place the PVC ladder assembly down snugly against the aluminum reinforcement on the wall cap. Ensure that top and bottom rail cuts fit flush to the newel posts on either end. Once the PVC ladder has been put in place, install the top aluminum reinforcement using the 3-inch hex cap rail attachment screws to anchor back to the newel post. Now that your top and bottom aluminum reinforcements have been secured to your post, drill a 3/16 inch pilot hole off center through the aluminum reinforcement over every third baluster and secure the aluminum to the rail and the baluster assembly using a 2.5 inch baluster screw. Be sure to offset this pilot hole to avoid the screw which attaches the baluster to the baluster cap below. Once your top rail aluminum has been installed in your full rail assembly, run a bead of latex caulk around the contact points of your top rail and snap your rail together, securing your compression fit. If you choose to mechanically fasten the PVC top cap to the rest of the top rail assembly, simply run a pilot hole at the ends and the center of your top rail and fasten this system with the provided screws. And that wraps up our radius rail installation video. If you have any further questions, please reference our library of installation videos or contact us directly in our office. Thank you.